today our guest will take us down memory lane on the life and time of Peter Rufai. Our guest, who is Mr. Ekpo Temple, who is a media director and sports analyst, to talk about life and time of Peter Rufai. Good evening, Mr. Temple.
Yeah, good evening. That is a delight to join you on Senator TV today.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure. We are talking about the life and time of Peter Rufai. Just to get the background knowledge, he is being known as a renowned goalkeeper. And because of that, he has played a very vital role in the Nigerian football world. So in your own view, who do you see Peter Rufai as, and what has been his impact so far?
I think that Peter Rufai is one name that resonates, with a lot of Nigerians. Many knew Peter Rufai from 1994, when he did the unthinkable, helped the Super Eagles won the African of Nations. Okay, so that was the beginning. That was when he did, but he has been there. 1998, also won a bronze medal and all that. But the best moment of his Nigerian career was what Nigeria achieved in 1994. That was the African of Nations before the Olympics in 1996. So you see, it was more like a dream team that continued from, but he was not the goalkeeper of the dream team. Okay, but then he was, because of the exploit of what Nigeria achieved from 1994 to 1996, and then Nigeria qualified to play at the World Cup in 1998, which of course was the goalkeeper. And at that time, a lot of people began to know who Peter Rufai was. He hails from a very more like a wealthy family, but he decided to choose the path of people, and that alone changed the narrative of who we knew as Peter Rufai. So I can tell you for sure that it's not been easy for him, but he was able to move away from the system, look for a club in Nigeria, stationary club, as like you said. That was the beginning of his professional career. From there, he moved over to Europe, had a stint with one or two clubs over there, and then he became a national. But even after his career, he came back home and was able to see what he can do. I mean, a lot of people argue that we have not had any other goalkeeper as good as Peter Rufai. Yes, Yama was brilliant, fantastic. Just maybe the both of them were in recent time. We've had issues, in our national team, and one of them is goalkeeper. Until recent time, when we had, some of the goalkeepers coming out after him, it's always been difficult to have good goalkeepers. So Peter Rufai is one of those goalkeepers that we saw, that we felt that made us understand what goalkeeping is, and what a player can bring to the team. He was a leader. Somebody like Lisa listened to the documentary, and Lisa said he was the leader. He was those calm leader who can push you to do what they want, achieving something. And I mean, it doesn't get less than that. But I think that Peter Rufai truly is a man who he died for something. Even if 61, I still believe that there were life in him. He died at a time when he wanted to write, an autobiography. The work is still ongoing. A friend of mine is part of the committee. That book was supposed to be launched, soon until he left this beautiful world. But like I said, he will be remembered for his exploit in 1994, and then coming in to help the team in 1998. Because originally it was not planned to be part of the 1998 team, but Providence fell on him, and he was picked for that particular tournament. And I tell you, we won the first game against Bulgaria, and the rest is history.
Okay, with all this being said, let's go down memory lane of his early years in the football world, when he just started in the 1980s and 1990s, when he just started pursuing his career in the European, in the Western world. What would you say are some of the challenges that he had faced?
Of course, coming from a royal family and deciding not to be a footballer and not to be royalty, okay, not to be part of the throne. You know how difficult it can be. We are from a very cultured environment. So if you are coming from that level, it's always very difficult to really not to follow the royal line. But you say no, I have a dream. I want to be a footballer. And of course, it is more also moving from the family, going to a new that also helped him rejuvenated his career. And then he came back to Lagos where he now started professionally with professional soul and all that. So a lot of challenges. I mean, to become a footballer in Nigeria is difficult. Talk about becoming a goalkeeper. It can be very, very difficult. I tell you, the selection process, the confidence to really get involved, and it's that's a very poor high. That's one of the advantage. And then it started from the league too. So then and now, I mean, if you are playing in the league, it's a little bit. But there were good players at that time. Not that we don't have those players now, but then if you are fantastic, he was able to redefine himself. So regardless of the challenge, he was able to. He told himself, "Come, I want to be the best of the best." He may not be the best people at that time, but he was doing so well. He had a very good, management pattern in the goalpost, and that alone singled him out, and they picked him for the African Cup of Nations. So I tell you, yes, it's coming to footballer can come with a lot of challenges, but it doesn't matter. What matters is the fact that he didn't give up on those challenges and was able to redefine his career. Today, we're not talking about him as a legend of the game, even if he's done, but his memories lives on.
Okay, from Peter Rufai's background, it is known that he is of the royal blood. And it's so funny to know that someone would pick football, having a football career over, continuing the family lineage and taking up the crown of royalty. So how did this really influence him, being from a royal family and having to have a career in football? What would you say influenced him exactly?
I think it's about game. It's passion. If you grow up in Lagos, from the area you grew up, you know that there is this passion for football. You go to the streets, go to the what is it called? The bridges, flyovers. You see a lot of games ongoing. It's a football games, and that's how it starts. So I think all that influenced him. The kind of friends he had as an actor, and he dream of, I want to play. There are big names, I mean, the days of this world, Hala. These are guys who probably you talk to, and he said he wants to play for the Green Eagles, as an actor. So I think that could have also influenced him to say, this is it, this is it, this is it, and all that. So basically, it's about what he believes. He had the passion that I want to be a footballer. And it doesn't matter who the family was coming from. He knew that he can, he has the talent. And he not got the talent. He didn't give up. He came back, even when he left the mother, he came back and he joined. And today, I mean, from 1994, the parents will look back and say, wow. Then, when he came to the national team, there was this, euphoria. It's not now that anybody goes to the national team. Then, for you to be a member of the national team, you might have, I mean, you are one of the best in the country. If you have the two players selected and you're selected in front of it, it's more than gold. It's more, Stanley, our goalkeeper today is celebrated. That's how it is. When you put on the colors of the green, white, green, that's a lot of honor that comes with it. So I think that all this would have motivated me to say, I want to become a footballer, regardless of what on family I come from.
Let's look at the influence that Peter Rufai had on the Nigerian team when he became the Super Eagles team, when he became the national team goalkeeper. What would you say are those significant things that he did as a leader then?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I came into the team. In 1994, he was able to, manage the team. He was also the captain of the team at some point, and because he was there for too much. He was not the kind of people that leaders that talk too much, on the pitch. If you, on this time we say that the both of them were roommates, okay, in one of the camp. One of them say came in, he was one of those players who is whose own stayed in the same hotel room. And then he had this leadership, penchant, and a lot of people respected him for who, he was at that time. So I think that the fact that he can control his defense is one man who can give you confidence and tell you, come on, don't worry, don't give up. This game can still win. He has a way of celebrating goals that even gives you, if you're a player, you can believe that, come on, the way this goalkeeper is, something good can come out. So I think his personality speaks volumes of what he is.
Peter Rufai was working with he played in the European with the European team before. You know, he was a goalkeeper with the European team, and having this experience and exposure in Europe, would you say that it gave him a certain leverage when when he came back to work as the leading goalkeeper for the Nigerian football team?
Of course, of course. And you know, when those who play outside the shores of Nigeria, they're highly regarded. And that's the truth. They are highly regarded. They have a lot, to give him. Like this normal respect that people have for those who play outside the shores of Nigeria. And I think that Peter Rufai benefited from that. Because at the time he moved to Europe, and then he was called to the national team, he became a figure. And when you are called to the national team, the normal thinking of the other Nigerian, the common Nigerian is, you should be playing. I mean, you should be playing in Europe. That's the truth. Because a lot of Europeans are more respected, are more regarded as compared to those who play in the local scene. There's no discrimination when you go to camp. But there's this normal sentiment that flows. So I think that yes, there's a lot of experience in Europe. Also, you may not have played for big people, you play for happiness, those sports in Netherlands. But there are, I mean, you were able to gather more experience because, I mean, take one thing for granted, the European scene gives you better exposure in terms of the quality of the equipment you train with, the level of science, included in football, and of course, man management as well as other club administration that builds you as an individual. So I think that's what he benefited. And whenever he comes back from national team, he delivers. And playing in Europe as a goalkeeper can be very, very difficult because as a goalkeeper, my brother is a goalkeeper. He plays in Croatia. I know the difficulty that they get sometimes, playing in Europe. Because he needs to, it's not like normal footballer that you can move from one club to the other, big names, this big club. No, goalkeepers are always, I mean, the movement is real. So you must be exceptional for you to get this club. You may not have played for Manchester United, Chelsea, and all that, but he was able to give his all, I know, for the time that he played there in Napoli as one of the clubs in Europe.
Is also nicknamed Dodo Mayana. Where did this name crop up from, and what's the history behind this name?
I think the name came from what the coach is it Sinclair, one of the coaches in the team who called him that particular name, and because of the way he was diving, he was very good in diving, just like you can see on the screen there. He was very good diving, and the way he also composed himself also matters, and that alone was student, for him. And that name Dodo started from Dodo, now added it as Dodo Ayana. That just to that, it doesn't nickname that became very popular name and became something that aligns with his personality. And from there, the teammates started calling him Peter of Dodo. And in fact, I remember in one of the football commentaries, the commentator called him Peter the Cat. That's to show that he was flying like cats, how cat flies. That was how he was diving to get those balls, not to get into his backyard and then walk.
Okay, so for other footballers that are looking up to Peter Rufai, what would you say are some of the examples they could actually pick from him and how he sustained his career for 20 whole years?
I think that first off, you need to look at what do you want to passion. Passion, that's very important. And we were very passionate about what he believes. Yes, for him too. And then look at after the last years he stayed in Europe, came back, he was able to factor in what can I give back to society. Some players cannot come back because it becomes difficult for them to cope with the Nigerian system. When he came back and then he started building his local academy, just to see how he can develop young talents, yeah, and the international state. So I think that first off, we need to look at okay, what this professional I'm into as a footballer, what would be my gains after now? After now, what would be the next thing if I retire from football? How will I cope with life, especially in Nigeria? So all those things must be put in perspective. So I think that that's one area. And Peter Rufai was a man who was very diligent in all of these and worked out perfectly for it. So, footballers look at, okay, after my football career, what next for you? What next for me? That area must be clearly defined because don't think that the government will always look out for you. It's not possible with all that. They will not always look out for you. So I think that is very important to you. So every exam must watch out for you clearly.
Okay, so what has been the development or impact of El Rufai in the football world as well? Now that you've outlined the life lessons that people should learn from him, especially footballers, what are other impacts that I don't understand that he was part of the team that rather he was part of the people that helped the Nigerian Super Eagles to qualify for the World Cup in the 90s.
Can you come again? I was trying to hear you out.
Can you hear me, Mr. Temple?
Yes, I can hear you now. I can hear you clearly.
Okay, you had just outlined what other footballers should actually learn from him and take home from him. So far, what other life lessons do you think that, or rather, what other impacts did Peter Rufai put into the Nigerian football world, and what is that thing that he'll be remembered for, knowing that he had actually contributed in qualifying for the World Cup back in the days?
I think that for those who are fortunate to be footballers, first of all, you need to know that as a playing, eyes are watching at you. It doesn't matter where you're playing. If you give your 110% every day, every game you play, that it counts for you. It's better than tell watching you and taking your especially in this era of digital revolution, where everybody can be watching those mistakes can be watched and so you are pushing everybody get to see you. So you don't take anything for granted. In that days it was difficult because it was more like there was no digital activity, you don't even get to see what's happening. Who is stationary club, for him to have been selected. So it must have been very exceptional in his club at that time. Unlike today that you can just go anywhere and know what's happening from one club, you get to see what's happening in Brazil, anywhere in the digital world. So I think that players must be determined, you must be sure that okay, I want to play football. I want to play football, I want to be a footballer. And then you need to give me your 100%. Because that is what defines you. And I also think that that is also very important in the area of passion. When you are passionate about something, you go all miles to achieving it. If you're not passionate, difficulties and challenges of life will just melt you down. And then you must also best goalkeeper in Nigeria, and look at it very well. From his time to the era of Vincent Benyama, because actually he was the only one who was doing so well, not even Keshirobo, as of 2000 and all that stood strong. Not many people know about the Keshirobo anymore. So I think that you must tell yourself, what do I want? And that's it. If you are passionate, if you are determined, if you can stand tall against challenges, nothing stopping you can achieve success.
That's the most we can take on this conversation. Our conversation, like I said before, is Life and Time of Peter Rufai. If you're just joining us, we have rounded up this conversation. You can revisit the conversation and drop your comments in the comment section.
Save Nature TV, news in your pocket.